Hello, amazing people. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you in whatever time zone in the world that you may be listening from. So, whether you're chilling at home or probably you're doing something else while listening to this very episode, I want to say thank you very much for being here. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for, in a way, revealing that this boy, as the case may be, is worth listening to, is worth your time. So thank you. So let me even begin by saying, how are you? And yes, how are you guys doing? Since the last last episode dropped, how are you? I hope you are enjoying the moments. I hope you are enjoying God. I hope that irrespective of other situation you're finding yourself, irrespective of the process that you think may be painful, tell me, I hope you're fine. I hope you're enjoying the moment, and I hope you're enjoying God in the process. Speaking of which, I could remember that the last episode was recorded with a very cracked voice, and I was actually going to delete it. And see if I could record again. And a friend of mine reached out. I was like, I can't believe it. And I was like, I'm not proud of putting out that stuff right there. I'm not proud of leaving that there with my really, really cracked voice. And I was like, it's not that bad. I'm over leave it, because it will serve as a testament that even when you didn't feel like doing it, you just showed up. Even when your voice was cracked, you still showed up. So that means that it speaks of consistency, and to serve as a testament later that you were consistent despite the fact that you had a reason not to show up. And this now in a way brings a message. This is not what I'm talking about, but it in a way brings out a message that let's be consistent irrespective of how you feel, despite the fact that of course you are having a reason not to show up, a very genuine reason not to show up, but you just have to do it, especially when you are committed to a cause. I am committed to you guys. I am committed to, by the message of God, bringing out messages weekly. So it's many times I just know I would have to show up even when I have a genuine reason not to. So yes, guys, you guys are my priority, and I'm saying thank you very much for tuning into this very episode. So if you're new here, I would advise you just take out time, please, and just listen to the other episodes, because I trust God that you would benefit greatly from it. So right now, I want us to consider a very serious aspect of our lives that we feel but we rarely talk about, which is external pressure and how it impacts our decision making, and how it sometimes clashes with timing in our lives. So from societal expectations to cultural norms, like in a way it has placed pressure and shaped how we make decisions in profound ways. So but here's the question, right? Are we making decisions that truly align with who we are, or by just tickling boxes that others have set for us? And of course, you know that we are in an African household, in an African community, and for those of us that might not Nigerian audience, non-African audience, I'm sure at some point in this conversation you would be able to relate to one or two things. So there's an unspoken rule, because I believe it's not just peculiar to those of us in Africa, right? So it's not just peculiar to us. So as I was saying, there's this unspoken rule that seems that you and I must follow everywhere. It's like the moment you are born, there's a particular blueprint of how our life should go. So if you just say, I want to go in this direction, I don't want to go in that direction, there's this side eye, bombastic side eye you would receive. There are whispers, and sometimes within us, before we make certain decisions, we begin to ask ourselves, what would people say? Would this bring shame to my parents? And funny enough, these are whatever decision we want to make are genuine, not that they have any negative impact or consequences, but because of the expectations that society brings, because of the expectations from culture, we begin to ask, what will people say? What will my dad say? What will my mom say? What will my uncles and aunties say? Because they are your immediate family, and you begin to ask yourself, what will these people say? So today I want us to talk about these expectations, the ones that weigh heavy on our shoulders, the one that shapes our decisions, and sometimes the one that makes us to really question who we really are, right? And why I'm saying all of this is because it starts early. When you are done with your secondary school, and for those of you that may not be in Nigeria, or let's just say high school, because even in Nigeria, there's some that refer to their secondary school as high school, right? So by the time you are done with your secondary school, and before you even blink, your uncles, your aunties, they're already asking, which university are you going to go to? That is right, I mean, normal. It shows they care, no pressure. But wait, it doesn't just stop there. The next question would be, what course do you want to study? And it has to be, of course, respectable. And you know why growing up, if you are an art student, it has to be law. If you're an art student, of course, you know it has to be law. And if you're probably a commercial student, it has to be in the finance space. Yes, probably accounting, for instance. And for those of us in sciences, you know, medicine or engineering, to say but the very least, no one wants to hear, uncle, I would love to study I would love to study music, I'd love to study visual arts, and God forbid you say, I want to be a writer. Like I'm sure we all at some point can relate. We can say, you want to be a what? So the moment we take our first breath, it's like a script from somewhere, from nowhere, from somewhere and nowhere in particular, is being handed down to you. A script that, of course, you did not write, but everyone is expected to follow. You are expected to follow it. I am expected to follow it. Now, let us look at this checklist. For example, you have to get married, right? Preferably before you are 30. Because after that, it seems that you are basically on a lost cause. Then after getting married, you have to start having kids. So what is the point of being married if you are not going to produce grandchildren for your parents, or grandchildren for your parents to show off? That's an example of pressure that we may not necessarily really recognize. Another one is that you have to be successful, not just any kind of success, but the kind of success that people will see, measure, and brag about in family meetings. Okay. And I was thinking, I started looking around and I was observing, don't even get me started on gender roles. So if you're a woman, you're expected to be a perfect wife, you're expected to be a mother, you're expected to be a career woman. All while keeping all of this, you still have to have a smiling face. And if you're a man, you're supposed to be a provider, you're supposed to be a protector. You are not at any point in time supposed to show weakness. And this can actually be exhausting. Now, I would love for us to look at it from this angle. First of all, let's understand external pressure, because it can come in various forms. It can come in form of societal norms, it can come in form of family traditions, it can come in form of family expectations, it could be peer pressure, it could even be from social media. And to cap it all up, we live in an hyper-connected world where everyone seems to have an opinion about what we should be doing and should not be doing. So speaking of societal expectations, we have timelines imposed upon us. You have to graduate at a certain age. After that, land a dream job. Then immediately gotten a dream job, you get married. Then after that, have kids. Then make sure you just have to be financially stable, and so on. And these expectations can make us feel like we are falling behind if we do not meet up to this milestone, if we do not beat these timelines. And it seems as though we do not have anything worth celebrating or anything that we could call our own, that we could say, oh, yes, we've done really well with our lives. And this can really be frustrating. Speaking of a research that I stumbled across, so research from the Journal of Adolescent Research, one thing that they revealed was that societal pressure significantly impacts young adults. It impacts young adults' careers, it impacts their relationship decisions, often leading to regrets, and especially when these decisions are rushed. And it is something that is worth looking at, something that is worth discussing. Another instance is, of course, the marriage countdown. This is quite popular. And funny enough, we may not even realize that we are experiencing all of these pressures. Okay, so if you are single and you are above 25, you'll be asked, when are you bringing somebody home? And you begin to wonder, before you were 25, right, when you were young, you were told, don't follow man, oh. You're not even expected to be in a relationship. Like, what mind would you have to tell your mom or your dad, oh, that's my boyfriend, that is your girlfriend? Even looking at it seems funny. Like, what mind? Where did that boldness come from? Even for those of us that were in a relationship at a younger age, of course, we know we hid it, right? Now, what mind do you want to tell your parents that your relationship? Now you're done with school, you are above 25, or you have hit the 25 mark, and probably have a good job, and maybe you've done your masters also. Then you'll be asked, uncle, when are you bringing somebody home at any family event? And if you're in a relationship, the next thing you'll be hearing is, okay, now, so when are you getting married? So it do not seem as though that your worth is tied to relationship status and your financial status. And heaven forbid that you're a woman in your 30s and you are still single. My goodness. And you become a subject of prayer. All of a sudden, my goodness. Your case is beyond, it has passed, be careful. Exactly. Your case has passed, be careful. And that starts again is parental pressure, right? Once you're married, the next question is, when are you having kids? And if you just say you're not ready or you don't want to have kids, it will seem as though you have committed a crime punishable by the law. And let's not forget the pressure to raise kids in a certain way. And if your child isn't top of the class or is not well behaved according to societal standards, it means that you as the father, you as the mother, you're a failure. And looking at the impact of all of this, because these expectations aren't just annoying, but they are downright damaging. And all of these expectations, in my opinion, don't come alone. They come with several packages, such as anxiety, such as depression, and a constant feeling of you not be good enough. The pressure does not come alone. So it now makes us to stay in relationships and careers that don't fulfill us, just because we are trying to meet up with some standards somewhere that we've met. And the worst part is that they make us lose our identity. We lose sight of who we really are. We become so focused, living up to these expectations, that we forget to ask ourselves certain questions such as, what do I want? What makes me happy? What makes me fulfilled? I know, of course, there are certain statements such as, do what makes you happy, even though sometimes I have like a big I seem to want to differ on that statement, that do what makes you happy. What if what makes a person happy is not the right thing? What if whatever makes that person happy is something that is morally wrong, right? But all I would say is, does that thing want to engage in makes us fulfilled, even in terms of the expectations, right? So that is even societal expectation. I even speak about cultural norms. So culture and tradition add another layer of pressure. So all of these things, if it's not well followed, can lead to ostracism. Of course, we are defined by our culture. Of course, cultural values are important, but we need to be careful on how much they become an indices that dictate our lives at the expense of our authenticity and God's will for us. Now let us even start with a common story that we all may know through the lens of the scriptures, that I think may be low-key, in a way, low-key wide. That should be Acts 10, and it talks about Peter. Now this same Peter that cut someone's ear off, right? So Peter was praying, he's hungry, then all of a sudden he has a vision. Shit's coming down from heaven, feed the all kind of animals, and God was like, kill and eat. Peter was like, nah, I can never eat anything that is unclean. So in other words, based on that story, so that is not how we do things in my culture. And God basically had to tell him 3 times, stop calling unclean what I have made clean. Now in all of these moments, Peter was stuck to his cultural norms, that he almost missed out on what God was trying to show him through that revelation, that the gospel isn't just for the Jews, but it's for everyone. So this story is a reminder that sometimes God's plan doesn't fit into our cultural boxes. And if we are not being careful, we will let traditions block our blessing. We will let tradition make us to take the wrong decision. We will let tradition make us to miss our timing, our Kairos moments. So the danger of all of this external pressure is that it hijacks your timing. So instead of acting when you are truly ready, you might rush a decision in order for you to meet external expectations, leading to burnout, leading to poor outcome, or even resentment, and sometimes it leads to bitterness. And this is quite, like, this conversation is quite, but it's a very, very serious conversation we are having. And if we want to ask ourselves, or even look at it in another way, then what is the role of timing under pressure? Because of a truth, external pressure often creates a false sense of urgency. It tricks us into believing that we are running out of time. It tricks us into believing that we are pushing or we are making certain decisions prematurely. So if we are rushing into decisions because everyone else is doing it, that can rob you and I of personal growth. Let's just have this imagination, right? Imagine you are planting a seed in a soil that isn't fertile. Of course, you do expect it to grow, no matter how much you water it. So let's see timing as much as we are seeing planting, which depends on readiness and not just comparison. So if we are making decisions under pressure, it doesn't just affect the present, it creates more or less a ripple effect on your future. What does that even mean? Like, for example, you are rushing into a career just to meet societal standard or to meet family patterns that you've met. Oh, your mom wants you to go to this career path, dad wants you to go into this career path because that's where money is, that's where the economy is, that's where the value and money is flowing into. All of this thing could actually lock you up in a path that doesn't make you feel fulfilled, delaying your true calling. And this is worrisome. A study by Psychological Today highlights that individuals who give into external pressure are more likely to experience long-term dissatisfaction and mental health challenges. So it is found out There are people who make decisions based on what others expect of them, whether it is family, friends, society. They are more likely to end up being unhappy, being unfulfilled, and struggling with their mental health. So I want you to think about this right now. So when you are trying to constantly meet someone else's standard, you are not living for yourself. You are living for their approval. And that, my friends, is one way to get to burnout. Like you're just on the way going to the city of burnout. And this is like, even the way I'm speaking, this conversation is really needed right now. It's really truly needed. And of course, it affects every areas of our lives. Right? It affects every areas of our lives. And another study highlights that the kind of pressure, or this kind of pressure, I beg your pardon, it leads to anxiety, it leads to depression, and even makes you lose your identity in the process. Like you wake up one day and realize that you have been living someone else's dream. You wake up one day and you realize that the life you are living is not the life you want to live. And that is heavy. It could weigh you down. Now, imagine you are pressured, right, to take a safe job, right, instead of pursuing your passion, instead of pursuing your calling. Because even pursuing your passion doesn't necessarily sit well with me also, especially with the one that has to do what makes you happy. Because what makes you happy may not necessarily be the right thing. And following your passion could really be something else. So fast forward to 5 years down the line, you're following a safe job instead of following what you truly want to do, and you are stuck in a career you hate, you are feeling unfulfilled, and then you are wondering, what if? That is the ripple effect. Or let's say you rush into getting married because everyone is asking, oh God, why are you settling down? Like, auntie, you're a woman, you should not be single by this time. But deep down, you know you are not ready. So fast forward, you are in a relationship that is not working. You are in an abusive relationship. You feel trapped. You feel unhappy. And again, this is the one of the ripple effects of external pressure. Or maybe you are pressured into studying something you are not passionate about because it is prestigious. That when you study this particular course or go for this particular course and you are done, you earn respect. You earn the respect of your family. You earn the respect of your peers. You earn the respect of society at large. Like everyone is proud. And let me give an example, just an example. But you study medicine, for example, and your dad. That reminds me of a tweet I saw. So just paraphrasing, and someone tweeted, I was like, anytime his dad's called and he says, Doctor so and so, or my doctor, it means his dad is in the midst of his friends. And I'm like, that's just it, really, because sometimes people just want to make our family feel, yes, this is my son, this is my daughter. So down the line, you graduate and you are stuck in a field that doesn't in any way excite you, constantly feeling that you wasted your potential or you could have done more if you're someone else. That is the ripple effect of external pressure. You see, there is a pattern here. So when you let external pressure dictate your timing, dictate the decisions you make, it creates waves that can mess up your life for years to come. It's really detrimental. If we are being honest with ourselves, it's really, really detrimental. It's not just affecting the present, it goes way into the future. And since we are talking about timing, since we are looking at the series called timing isn't just about action, it's all about patience. Knowing when to act requires discernment, it requires leading, right? And sometimes you need to have this courage to say it's not yet time, because timing isn't just about the ideal moment. but it's when timing is all about purpose, right? It's not about the ideal moment, it's all about purpose. And when you look at it, you could tell, oh, it's not yet time for this, it's time for this. So we should be able to learn how to discern and say, okay, it is time for me to do this, it is not yet time for me to do this. So as people of faith, we are reminded that God's timing is perfect, right? Looking at Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1 that says, to everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. Okay, so we must come to the point where we begin to trust God's timeline for our lives. External pressure often sometimes stems from fear of being left behind, fear of disappointing others, or fear of the unknown. But we have an encouragement from the scripture for us to trust in God's plan rather than conform to the world's timeline. And God's time, if we are being honest, if we are being sincere, we would see and observe even over time that God's timing is rooted in wisdom, not in urgency, as the case may be. Yes, there might be an urgency in the spirit when you receive certain instruction, but we need to understand that we need to just have the understanding that God's time is attached to his purpose, and yet it is rooted in wisdom. Okay, so you have to discern this thing that I've received, this instruction, this insight, is it for now or is it for later? And if by adventure the works need to be done, you would know. You are not acting as a result of impatience. That I'm not speaking as to do with urgency. So if probably you're feeling that this work requires, or this work that you've received, this revelation that you've received, this vision that you've received from the Lord requires haste. Yes, but from within you, you will not be doing it due to haste. You won't have haste within you or be patient, because I'm actually going to be talking about handling haste in the next episode. How to handle the haste that comes from within, especially when it comes to timing. Because sometimes we take decisions that are not yet time, but we are doing it as a result of impatience. We are hasty, right? So back to external pressures. Looking at the life of Jesus, looking at his ministry, looking at everything he stood for while he was on earth, he didn't rush to meet societal expectations. So when asked to perform miracles to prove himself, he often said, oh, my time has not come. That we could see in John 2 at the wedding of Cana. So this shows us the importance of aligning our actions with timing rather than external pressure, because time would come that you'll be asked to prove yourself. Time would come that you'll be asked that what are the evidences attached to so many things. What are the evidences attached to your life? What are the evidences? What are the proof that you could do this? What are the proof? I'm sure you get what I'm saying. So timing isn't just about waiting passively. That's to be about preparedness. It's preparing yourself for the right moment when it comes. So Proverbs 29 verse 21, reminds us that many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevail. So when we align with God's purposes, when we align with his timing, we find peace in waiting. Okay, so when we know that this is God's will for my life, this person is God's will for my life, this project is God's will for my life, and it's not yet time, we find peace. There's peace in waiting for God. There is peace that comes with it. Yes, we may be tired. Yes, we may feel left behind, because it's human. We are humans and we have feelings. But there is this peace that comes knowing that you are in the center of God's will for your life. Okay? There's this peace that comes. There's this fulfillment that comes, that you are aligned to destiny, that you are in alignment with God's will. So if we want to look at it from another angle now, let's talk about something we don't always hear. That waiting is not passive, but it is active. Okay, for example, you're waiting on God to get married, which is cool, a very legitimate desire. But are you learning what it takes to make a healthy marriage work? Are you dealing with past traumas, understanding conflict resolutions, and learning how to communicate effectively? Because obviously, whosoever you're getting married to, wouldn't act like you act or think like you think, despite the fact that you all may share the same values. So effectively, because all of these things will shock you if you think love will sustain a marriage. Love alone, in quotes, love alone will sustain your marriage. Or maybe you are waiting for that career breakthrough. Bro, you can't just fold your arms and expect opportunities to fall from the sky. You have to be prepared. You just have to be prepared. Read wide. Take courses, attend seminars, network. Just make sure that you're doing something while waiting for the right timing. And I've left marriage. This is what the statement I just made now. It's not just about marriage. It's encompassing. You just do not have to fold your hands and just say, oh yeah, I'm waiting for the right time. So before that time comes, before your kairos moment comes, you just have to be prepared. You just have to be prepared. So the Bible was speaking or saying something in Proverbs 19:21. That many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevail. I shared this a few minutes ago here. So if you are not preparing yourself while waiting, how will you be ready when your kairos moment finally comes? So life isn't about rushing to the next big thing. Let's be factual. It's not, that is not life. It's about using your waiting season wisely. It's about learning. It's about growing. It's about becoming. That way, when the doors open, when your kairos moment comes, you step into it fulfilled. The kairos moment could be in form of career. It could be in form of marriage. It could be in form of maybe businesses. It could be in form of raising kids. Permit me to say raising kids, yeah. But yes, you are doing it because you are fully prepared for it. Right? You are fully prepared for it. So I do not want this episode to be like the last episode where I know I was speaking and not considering time. I knew at some point that I just needed to finish this stuff. Let's just get on with it because of the messages the messages I feel that will be of value to you. Okay, so let's just go straight to the point so we could round up on time. But let's just go straight to the point. So, and let's make it practical. Let me make this one practical. So, what are the practical steps in handling external pressure? Because we need to know how to deal with it when it comes, which obviously is coming and is very subtle. We are living and being influenced by external pressures. So, first thing I would say is you need to ask yourself, am I making this decision for me? Am I making this decision because God wants me to make this decision? Or this is what God wants from me, I beg your pardon. Or you are making a decision because of others. So it's important that when it comes to especially decisions that could have long-term consequences, like marriage for instance, you don't need to rush into it. Take your time, right? But sometimes journal, sometimes meditate. What I'm trying to say in essence is clarify the motive. Question your motive. Know the reason why you are doing whatever you're doing. Is it because of you? Is it because of others? Or is it because of God? Another thing I would say is you would have to learn to say no to certain expectations that does not align to your value. You would have to learn to say no to certain expectations that is clashing with God's time in your life. You need to receive the courage to say no. You need to have the courage to say no. And it is okay if you have to disappoint people. It means you are staying true to yourself. That is just the honest truth. It's okay if you have to disappoint people. And taking it a step further, I would say it's important that you'd have people you talk to, such as mentors, such as spiritual leaders, such as trusted friends who can look into your eyes and offer you unbiased advice that is rooted in wisdom. That they could literally tell you anything, look into your eyes and dish it out to you without sugarcoating anything. Because in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Okay? There is safety in the multitude of counselors. So, and yes, trust the process. I'll keep saying this. Please trust the process. Not just, trusting the process. Enjoy the process. No matter how hard it may be. Enjoy the process. Life isn't a race whereby you are racing with somebody else. Each and every one of us are different. Each and every one of us are running our individual race, as the case may be. I am not in competition with you. I'm not in competition with me. Whatever God has called you to do is different from what He has called me to do, even if there may be similarities in the calling. But God is not calling me to compete with you, and God is not calling you to compete with me. We have a way of complementing each other to bring the kingdom of Christ to earth. So embrace your unique journey, trust the right opportunities, and welcomes God's timing. God's perfect timing. God's timing is perfect. God's timing is unique to you, and it comes with peace. The peace that you just cannot understand. God's timing comes with peace. It comes with fulfillment. You are doing things and you are fulfilled doing it. You are doing it, you're not feeling any pressure on your shoulders. Okay, I believe you understand what I'm saying. So yes, so I want to beg of us. So please and please, and please and please, let's try as much as possible to think, to have a reflection. Because external pressure is subtle. It is. By it day in, day out. If they influence our decisions, many a times they come in conflict with God's timing for our lives. So there is my takeaway for you. Don't let external pressure dictate your timing. So life isn't about limiting deadlines. It isn't about meeting timelines set by others. It's about aligning your decisions with purpose. It's about aligning your decisions with preparation and God's plan. Yes, there may be times where God tells you to do a thing, start a project, and yet you are not prepared for it. But at least you know that the reason why you are doing it is not because you are pressured to do it, but because God's hand is involved. Right? So let's talk about align. This episode just talks about aligning your decision with purpose, aligning your decision with preparation, and aligning your decision with God. Just align it with God. God is the author. God is the source. So, just like I stated in the last episode, how vast God is, as God is the source, then there's nothing to be worried about. So, timing isn't just about when you act, it's about why you act. Okay? Are you acting because you feel pressured to act? Okay? Take a deep breath, block out the noise, and trust God that you are exactly where you need to be, where you are meant to be. That is what being fulfillment. Block out every noise you're receiving. Block it out from your ears. It is okay. I'll say it again. It is okay to disappoint people. It is okay, to be very honest with you. It is very, 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 very much okay to disappoint people. Trust God. Trust God to be that you are where you exactly are, is where He wants you to be. Or make sure of that. So that's not trusting God to be exactly. No. That is wrong. What I'm trying to say in essence is, make sure that wherever you are is where God wants you to be. Then if that is the case and you are sure that where you are currently is where God wants you to be, then trust Him. Right? So, family, we've come to the end of this episode. So thank you very much for joining me on this particular episode. Thank you very much for listening to the end. Thank you very much for making me feel that I'm worth listening to. Thank you. But yes, next week's topic will be handling internal pressure, especially when it comes to timing. So until next time, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep trusting the process. Enjoy God and enjoy God. Enjoy God and enjoy God. So, bye bye for now.